that fit the needs of our 3 inquisitors. "So, Teg," Peg said, "movie, miniseries, novel?" Teg considered. "How about a graphic novel? Or animated? I know special effects have gotten a whole lot better, but this world is different, really different. Could CGI get it right? I mean, we're used to it by now, but you have to admit, learning that everyone here is therianthropic, mixing animal and human traits, was a real shock. Now I don't think twice about Vereez, say, having the head and tail of a fox, but it did take a while to get used to." "If animated," Meg cut in, "it would need to be done in one of the more serious styles. Our inquisitors are fascinating young people, but their appearance is more mystic and noble than cute. Disney would positively ruin them, and probably make us 3 all short, wrinkled, and impossibly adorable, like older versions of those 3 fairy godmothers in Sleeping Beauty. That's why I'd prefer a novel. We wouldn't be locked into some art department's idea of what we are." "Oh, I don't know," Peg said. "I wouldn't mind seeing our adventures live. Me at the wheel of Slice Wind as we tear through the skies, Teg using her archaeologist superpowers to solve the mystery of where the doorway into the library of the Sapphire Wind had vanished, Meg channeling the genius loci of a ruined magical library, the mysterious necropolis." As Teg went back to using her archaeologist superpowers to sweep up potentially interesting debris from the floor of the repository, she swallowed a sigh. Peg might talk about Teg's archaeologist superpowers, but one thing about spending time with 3 talented 20-somethings, Vereez was actually only 19, was that despite Meg and Peg being older than her, there were times Teg definitely felt the weight of her 50-some years, menopause, aches and pains, and all the rest. Listening to Peg chatter about her expanding family, Teg often wondered if she'd missed out on important aspects of life when she chose to focus on her career, never marrying or having kids. "But I'm in good shape," Teg reminded herself. "And it's sorta nice being in a world where my mixed-race heritage isn't the first thing anyone sees about me. Here, Meg's not an American woman of Scandinavian descent, or Peg a mix of Spanish and Irish, or me just about everything else topped off with a funky purple-highlighted punk cut. I'm Teg Brown, archaeologist, mentor." Her fingertips drifted to the sun spider amulet that she kept in a pocket within easy reach of her right hand. Apprentice user of at least some sort of magic. Hey, I'm cooler even than Indiana Jones, right? Grinning, Teg pushed to her feet and brought her dustpan over to where she'd set up a makeshift screen. Meg reached for another crumbling tome, which she looked at reverently before gently opening the front cover. A moment later, she screamed. Teg swung around in time to see a needle-toothed, bat-winged creature with enormous eyes take shape from the printed page and surge up toward Meg's face. Luckily, Meg had been wearing her reading glasses, so her eyes were saved when the creature spat a gob of foaming spittle toward her face. Even so, the librarian's hands and fingers were blistered by an acidic ichor that spattered from beneath the creature's wings. Only Sapphire Wind intervening as a compact storm of electrical blue sparks saved more of Meg's body from similar damage. Meg's scream brought the 3 inquisitors running. Thundering down the corridor from where he'd been clearing away chunks of broken masonry came Grunwold, his antlered head bent, his hand reaching for the hilt of the long sword sheathed at his hip. Behind him was fox-headed Vereez, nearly running into him in her haste. The young woman ducked under Grunwold's arm, darted out in front of him, then pulled up short when she saw that at least half a dozen of the bat-winged creatures were now flapping across the room. They were unable to get to Meg, whose Sapphire Wind had protected with a tent of blue sparks, but clearly not willing to call it quits. "What the?" Vereez said, moving as if uncertain whether to draw her twin swords or to dive under the book-piled table at which Meg had been working. Down the stairs from the reading room, the text he'd been perusing in one hand, the spear that served as his staff in the other, lion-headed Xerak came barreling in. The young wizard shouted, "Lusitini! Magical creations! Grunwold! Get Meg out of the Republic!"